Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday morning forum. We hold this forum each Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. at Fellowship Bible Church, Middleburg, Florida. Welcome. In this week's session, we will be studying 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 9 through 12. Verse 9, the coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders. Verse 10, and with all unrighteousness, descriptions among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of truth, that they might be saved. Verse 11, and for this reason God will send them strong delusions, and they should believe the lie. Verse 12, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. We will be looking at this phrase found in verse 9. The phrase, the coming of the lawless one, is according to the working of Satan. Don't be confused now. The lawless one is not Satan, but is only working through the power that Satan gave him. The Antichrist will come with power, with signs and lying wonders, but all this is according to the working of Satan, as described in Revelation chapter 13, verses 13 through 17. Miracles or signs of the Antichrist. If someone has spiritual power, signs, or wonders, those are not enough to prove that they are from God. Satan can perform his own powerful works, either through deception or through his own resources of power. In Matthew 24, verse 24, show great signs, Jesus implies that the miracle shall be real, though demonic. Such mysterious effects of the powers of darkness. Moffat writes, he is Satan's Messiah, an infernal caricature of the true Messiah. In verse 10 we find this phrase, among those who perish. However, the description can only take root in those who do not receive the love of truth. These people are ready for deception of the Antichrist because they want a lie, because it is pleasing to the flesh. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 21 reads, heard and taught the truth is in Jesus, and Jesus said, I am the truth, the life. No one comes before the Father except through me. In verse 10 we find this phrase, among those who perish. However, the description can only take root in those who do not receive the love of truth. These people are ready for deception of the Antichrist because they want a lie, because it is pleasing to the flesh. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 21 reads, heard and taught the truth is in Jesus, and Jesus said, I am the truth, the life. No one comes before the Father except through me. The next phrase we'll look at is found in verse 11, and it reads, God will send them a strong delusion. You have to ask yourself, why would God want to delude people? In the end, the Antichrist is only God's messenger. God has judgment to bring, and he will send a strong delusion through the Antichrist. God will not force this delusion on anyone, but those who do not receive the love of the truth will receive this strong delusion. Alford translates, God is sending to them the working of delusion in order that they should believe the falsehoods. And Pools writes, quote, they were first deluded, which was their sin, and God sends them strong delusions, and that is their punishment. End quote. The next phrase that we'll be looking at is in verse 11, and we'll call it 11b. And it reads, that they should believe the lie. Specifically, God sends them the lie through the delusion. This isn't just any lie, but the lie that has enthralled the human race since Adam. This is the lie that God is not God, and that we are and can and could be gods. Those who have rejected the truth receive righteous judgment to Satan's delusion. Read Romans chapter 1, verses 24, 26, 28, which gave them up to uncleanness through their lusts, and that changed the truth of God into a lie. I quote this from Moffat. Quote, his point is that the last pseudo-Messiah, or Antichrist, will embody all that is profane, blasphemous, every conceivable element of impiety, and that instead of being repudiated, he will be welcomed by the Jews as well as the pagans. End of quote. And now verse 12, and this phrase, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. As God gives rebellious man the lie he desires, it isn't out of generosity. Instead, it shows God's judgment on those who reject the truth. If you recall our study back in the Old Testament, where the children of Israel clamored for a king, thereby rejecting God as their king. They wanted a king like other nations, and so God gave them a king, warning them ahead of time what would happen. Very similar to what's happening in this verse. As Romans 1 points out, in judgment, God may give a man up to depravity of his heart, to his pleasure in unrighteousness. Morse writes, quote, they think that they are acting in defiance of him, but in the end they find that those very acts in which they expressed their defiance were the vehicle of their punishment.